Oh, and away we go. It's been a minute. Hello, NSL world. Off season finally feels like it might be catching up to us. Slower moves have been made. Can't aggregate. Everyone's maybe talking about free agency now. Might just be that point where the off season starts to slow down. But we combat that with team news. We're talking about our wonderful league, and here we go. So it hasn't been a Portland pod for a while. We'll talk some general NSL, and we will also talk Portland, obviously. Congratulations again to Smokey. Led from start to finish. It really was a bit of a canter in the end. I know each playoff series was competitive, but best team all year, GM of the year. Yeah, really dominated. Dominated every facet of being an NSL GM, the performance, the team building, the managing of the roster. Great job, Smoke. I hope you're enjoying your off season as a champion. Yes, and they'll be very tough to beat again. But enjoy for now. You're the champion. Someone's got to come and get the crown from you. So well done. I want to shout out to Pete and the admins again. I genuinely love the website. It is such a thrill to keep discovering new features, new components of statistics and data that um, from our history. I know I words are words, but it's all we've got. And thank you for Pete and the admins because yeah, incredible website, incredible experience already, and it just enhances it even more. So thank you again. I know Pete's still putting in effort. If I see you, I'll give you a big hug and I'll buy you a beer. Yeah, heaps of fun. And I think most GMs are very engaged and very invested in that. That just protects the league for now and for a long time into the future, hopefully. So Paul and Trailblazers, we finished up last year. I reckon the last time we spoke, I think we'd just beaten the Spurs, which was very, hold on, which was very surprising, but very enjoyable. That was a very exciting experience for us as a young up and coming team. Um, and we got through to the Western Conference Finals. That was really exciting. We haven't changed much since then. We have kept most of our core intact. Um, Not that we get a lot of offers or a lot of temptation to move those guys, but I've had some offers for Anthony Black. No one's asked about Luca, really. No one's asked about Anthony Edwards. A few people asked about Gafford, Portis, those guys, but no real strong, enticing offers. So we go into the middle part of this offseason with pretty much our core from the Western Conference Finals still intact. Um, this is what we've done so far. So since the site flipped, what, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we condensed two of our third stringers who young guys on cheap deals, Vukcevic and Connect, and a second that brought in Brook Lopez. Now, Brook Lopez, much maligned. Um, some 2K versions of Brook Lopez, very uninspiring. We are banking on 2K26, sorry, 27 being like 2K26, and Lopez was very effective. Lots of stocks, hitting threes, rebounding okay. Like he looked like a giant out there. And as it happened for a lot of those finesse players that maybe suffered when it was 2K was very athleticism based, purely athleticism based. He was one of the players that seemed to benefit. So I was looking 23 minutes a game last season. He scored 10 plus points, 7 rebounds, a few assists, and 2.8 stocks, which is very high rate. So it seemed like a very low risk gamble. It put us a lot closer to the apron, but I feel like we can manage that. And when you add all these deals together, it's it makes a bit more sense why we did the Caruso deal. I've also forgotten we flipped a second to the Cavs for Trace Jackson Davis, who just a somewhat athletic third string big who was just there for cheap big man depth, just to make sure we had some big bodies. I don't know what he's like in 2K or in real life, to be honest. It just seemed like a reasonable price. We had a lot of seconds to spare, so it seemed like a reasonable price. The biggest deal we have closed, and it took a lot of thinking and a lot of deliberating, was moving on from Alex Caruso. From the Western Conference Finals team, he was playing maximum minutes. He was at point guard with Luca out. He would have been our shooting guard if Luca was in. So regardless, he was playing starters minutes. And he was a big reason why we got to the Western Conference Finals. Elite role player. The reason we moved him, partly apron based. So we were very close to the apron. And without a complete team, it was forcing me into maybe filling the last few spots with very cheap end of the bench guys who maybe aren't really going to help us on the court. So acquiring Dunn, Kispert, and a first for Caruso and some seconds was a move purely to give us vets who can play off the bench, but also contracts we could potentially move in other deals. So it only worked for Chris Dunn. The offer Ethan sent me on his own, I wasn't going to go for it. I didn't want Healed. Shepherd would have been okay, but yeah, I have Gary Harris. I have Caruso. They're going to do the same thing. But when Shams was looking to just keep flipping his pieces and get some second picks along the way, Dunn and Kispert was a lot more enticing to me than Healed. And well, I like Shepherd. I tried to get Shepherd, but I couldn't get Shepherd. So we took Kispert and Dunn, and we netted a first from the Bucks, and we paid a second to the Cavs as the Cavs tax. He has to get a pick in the deals. Yeah, now that he's having so much fun stacking the picks. I'm really hopeful. I have no idea what the tendencies are like, but Dunn on paper hopefully can cover most of Caruso. And also who can cover Caruso, I'm hopeful, is Anthony Black playing more minutes and hopefully getting a little bit of refinement in 2K after he did have a semi-breakout season last year in the NBA. No doubt Black's still a role player, but just those little refinements, that low 80s rating really, really makes a big difference. So Black gets pushed into the starting lineup potentially. Dunn plays that Caruso role off the bench. And Kispert is a guy I traded for actually a few years ago. Sneaky athletic, sneaky big in the game, a marksman, like a sharpshooter, but he doesn't seem to be one of those players, at least in the ratings, that all of his other physical attributes suffer, and he's just a
Henry from 561. What?
sorry. Yeah, he seems to be a guy that has some more well-rounded offensive ratings and like passable agility, passable perimeter defense numbers, not like a Duncan Robinson type that is slow and was in the 50s. So, I mean, I I'm obviously it's blue sky thinking here, but he seems to be a guy that would really benefit on my team coming off the bench. And at worst, he will be the first player we trade. That $14 million contract's quite handy because it can get us someone around the 18, $19 million mark, which could be a bigger contributor if we're really going for it. But at the moment, yeah, Dunn, Kispert in, and we've paid like hundreds, 100+ GMs to get some seconds ticking in. So this is the lineup. Um, Lots of flexibility. I could have multiple different starting lineups. I'm thinking about Flag off the bench. I'm thinking about Edwards off the bench, which we will definitely experiment with. Luke is locked in, and Gafford is locked in. And I'd be mad to put Edwards on the bench. It really would come down to Black or Flag going to the bench. And as you can see, the bench vets, I think, are looking really nice. They're not absolute world beaters, but I already talked about Lopez. Portis, really good last year for me. Kispert, I just talked about. Harris at 10th man. He might not get that many minutes, but he's capable in his role. And Dunn, who I on paper bullish about, but I don't know what he's like in the game. I don't remember seeing him play. And then you can see Al Horford, the third string power forward. So that's where it makes some sense to probably push Flag or Edwards to the bench, so I can then maximize my rotation with the big guys. Horford's too good to not be playing minutes, and I'd rather have Horford playing than Gary Harris. So that's something I'll experiment with and work with. But maybe the team will be a lot different come starting week anyway. But that's the lineup. I love it. Luca returning. I'm all in on Luca. Doesn't get the respect in any of the trade talks I've had, and I think this is just the perfect team for Luca to just absolutely slice and dice. And hopefully now that he's a Laker and he's kind of out of LeBron's shadow, he gets even more of that 2K love and that refinement. And yeah, see how we go. I can't see my team really changing much until next season, unless I'm absolutely blown away by an offer, and that's still hasn't happened. But we will not lose hope. Star power. So, Coop, Kyrie's back in the NBA. NBA, sorry. The keys obviously are well and truly Coop's, the keys to the Mavs. So I don't think, pardon me, sorry. I don't think it's beyond Coop to be rated 90 in 2K during next season. I think if he can do 21, 7 and 4, whatever he did last year as a rookie, that's the worst he's ever going to be. So you tack on even a little bit of efficiency, a few more threes going in, that's 24 points. An extra rebound, that's 20. That's 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That's and defense and stocks. Yeah, that's a hey Kev. Yeah.
Very great haircut, by the way.
Thank you.
So good on. Like that.
See you, mate. But I love the kid. Mr. M, your haircut looks great. That's so respectful. Yeah, so Coop, I hope 2K gives him all the love that I think it will over the between current edition and next edition, and they smooth out those rookie edges, and then he should be a star in 2K with that size. They say he's growing. Some sources say he's grown even taller. He'll be an absolute menace, but he's not even our biggest star, which makes it so exciting. We've got after last playoffs, I'd say Ant is the alpha. He was insane in the playoffs, and crazy to say Lucas is like your 1B, but I honestly think Ant's probably our best player at the moment. Um, Wild. Like I'm so proud looking at this lineup we've got. It's just going to be really fun to build rotations and teams and strategies around these three. I don't necessarily think we're the best team. I think especially where LeBron goes is probably going to dictate that and maybe put a team out of reach. But in terms of just set and forget rosters, these three can coexist together for at least 3 more seasons before we have to make difficult roster choices. But hopefully we figure out a way to keep them all. And obviously, what we're fueling the now with is having an ability to add picks into deals, and that was a result of all the hard work we put in a couple of years ago when we tore down a really, really, really good team full of stars and didn't settle, and we just kept tearing and tearing and tearing and tearing, and now we've kind of got a bit of a bankroll, which has allowed us to um, use some picks in trades, keep some picks, and stash some picks. So we don't want for anything at the moment, which is really good. But the picks will allow us to kind of fuel the moves we're going to have to make in the future, and I mean probably pay a premium, but that's okay. That's why we're bankrolling. So the lineup, I know you're all tinkering with your own teams. I know there's going to be a few quiet months, so please, I'd love to hear about your thoughts and your teams and what you've got going on for your franchise. Thanks again to the admins for the wonderful experience we have, and talk soon. See you guys.